Welcome to Resilience and Resolve with Lance Drury.
Welcome to Resilience and Resolve with attorney Lance Drury. For decades, Lance has represented taxpayers in high-stakes disputes with the IRS. One of the biggest challenges is that work isn't just the law, it's managing expectations. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about how to be honest with your clients under stress, deliver hope without false promises, and keep credibility intact in every case. Lance Drury, sir, welcome back.
Great to be here, Evan. It's good to see you again.
To you too, my friend. Lance, in tax resolution, many clients come in, they could be desperate for good news. How do you start the conversation in a realistic but reassuring way?
Well, I tell them, we're going to stand between them and the IRS, but I also tell them that, it's all based on their ability to pay the tax liability back. 85 to 90% of our clients never pay back the full amount. 10 to 15% never pay a dime. Those are mostly low income people or retired individuals. But, I let them know that, if they've got a lot of assets, a lot of income, then they will probably be in a position, particularly if the liability is not that high, to pay most of it back. So it doesn't happen often, but it does happen where people, they have to pay most of it back because they have the ability to do that. Like I said, that happens maybe 10, 15% of the time.
Well, Lance, what's the risk of attorneys giving, people false hope or promises they can't keep?
Well, you're going to lose all credibility with your client. So you've got to temper, their expectations. There's certain they're not really practitioners, they're scam artists. They'll send a notice out to these people. It looks like an official IRS notice, and it'll say, we can settle for 10 cents on the dollar, and tells them, then here's what we're going to settle for. But guess what? There's no physical address. There's an 800 or an 888 number. And so I tell them right away, that's a scam. Nobody can tell you exactly how much you're going to have to pay back to the IRS without doing a lot of work. We got to go through financial statements, bank statements, credit card statements, debit card statements. That takes 5 to 10 hours. And then we're going to have to substantiate some of those expenses for the satisfaction of the IRS. Because if you exceed the national standards, and the IRS compiles a number for certain categories of expenses, you got to show them proof, if you're in the automated collection system, that your actual expenses are going to exceed the national standards, so they're not going to give you your actual expenses.
Do you remember a case where setting that clear expectation up front kind of changed the outcome of your relationship, whether good or bad?
Yeah, because I'll tell you, the biggie is there's a lot of people out there that are tax protesters. And I had a guy once, and he came in, he'd been in federal court, he did all this, did all that. And I said, look, I don't want you to hire me if you're going to be a tax protester, because I'm not going to be able to help you out. You're going to pay me all this money. You're going to be upset at the end. And he said, no, I'm beyond that. I got to get this settled so that I can move on with my life. So he was fine. But, I have to let people like that know up front that I'm not going to be able to represent them. Or you also get individuals who want to hide assets or stuff. And I'm not going to do that for my clients. They're submitting those financial statements under penalties of perjury.
Wow.
And, we give people great deals, but we do it ethically. We're not going to do anything like that they could take my bar license. And you can't promise these people a particular result. It's unethical to guarantee a result to your client. And, the IRS could take away my license to practice in front of them if I started doing that.
Some lawyers fear that being too honest will scare their clients away, meaning, that transparency. How do you balance honesty with maybe encouragement?
Well, I think you've got to be honest with your clients about how the process starts, how the process works, or they're going to lose faith in you down the road. But at the same time, you tell them what your track record is. You tell them how many clients you have. You tell them how good your Google reviews are, and tell them that you're going to be in their corner every step of the way. And we're going to do 3 things. It's not just getting you the best deal possible. on the back taxes. We're also there to prevent any garnishments, to
Mm,
prevent them taking any of your assets, to make sure they don't take 90% of your take home pay. And we're also there to keep the clients compliant moving forward, which means they file on time and pay on time so they don't have that problem again. So they're paying for those two other things in addition to getting the best deal possible on the back taxes. And sometimes we can give them advice on how to run their business so they do better as a business person.
hmm. How do you explain IRS timelines or procedures to clients who expect like results fast?
Well, I tell them it's not going to happen. And I tell them it's 9 months to a year. In fact, the president of the American Society of Tax Problem Solvers says, and I point this out at times, you're doing your client a disservice if you take less than 9 months to get his problem resolved. And now with the government shutdown, who knows how long it's going to take. So I tell them, you're not going to get a fast result. If you want me to get this done in 30 days, it's not going to happen. It's not in your best interest to get it done that quickly. This takes time. And the other problem is people hire me. We send them the financial statement every month. It's a year later. They still haven't filled it out. Or we have to ask them for evidence that these are their actual expenses and they don't get back with us. So, this is how these people got in trouble in the first place. They're procrastinators. So I tell them in the initial consult, don't pay me the big bucks and then don't follow my advice, because if you don't follow our advice, we're not going to be able to help you out. You've got to get us the information we need when we need it.
Hmm. When things don't go the way the client hoped, what's your approach to keeping their trust if they're starting to lose a little bit of faith?
Well, we explained to them again that, it's not just getting you the best deal possible on the back taxes. We've stopped levies. We stopped you from getting your bank account flushed out. We're saving you from getting 90% of your take home. That's got to be a lot of worth a lot of money to these people, because how
Right.
would they pay the bills if that happened? And that just illustrates several years ago, I had a guy walk into me and he looked like he was half dead. And when he
Mhm.
sat down next to me, I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I've been sleeping in my car for over a year because the IRS is leaving me with $200 to live on every 2 weeks." So it's got to be worth a lot of money just to prevent those levies from people. And the other thing is, we get a lot of people come in, they've been non compliant for years, and we get it straightened out so that they don't repeat this again and save them a lot of money and having to rehire us.
Wow. Did you help that guy out? Did you help the one guy out for $200?
Well, he couldn't afford to hire me or anybody else at that point in time, and obviously he would have had to pay little or nothing had he, because it was clear he had a financial hardship when you're
Right.
sleeping in your car. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. People ignore these problems, they
Mhm.
procrastinate, and then it's too late. I mean, it happens from time to time.
Mm. Have you ever had to reset expectations with the client, like maybe mid case? How did you approach that if that happened?
Well, we've had to do that, and that's because during the initial consult, they didn't tell us everything about their problem. We get in, we get through the financials, then we find out that what they told us is not what the case actually is, or their financial situation changes after we're in the case. So, for
Mm,
example, they come in, they tell me they make this amount of money, and so, well, we think we can get you a pretty good deal. Well, then guess what? 3 months later, they get a big raise or they get a new job that pays them a
mhm,
lot more.
mhm.
So, I had a guy once got him in currently non-collectible, and then they pulled him out. And I said, "What happened? How'd they pull you out?" He said, "Well, it's probably I got a big settlement, a six-figure settlement." I said, "Oh, well, that's going to be tough." He says, "Nope, I bought my dream home. I fixed it all up. I don't have any of that money left." So we got him back into currently non-collectible, but that's unusual because most of those people that get those big settlements, it changes their financial situation drastically.
For attorneys listening, what's one practical tip for framing expectations during that very first meeting with that client?
I think you just got to be honest with people. You just got to, a lot of people tell me they think I'm honest. I'm a straight shooter. I do that and they appreciate that. That's what they want to hear. I don't want to take somebody's money if I can't help them out. That's what I'm here to do, is to help people out. And I'm 72, Evan, and I don't have to work. So I don't have to push anybody into hiring me so that I have my next meal. I just want to help people out at this point in time. And so the last thing I want to do is take somebody's money that I can't help out.
Absolutely. And looking back, Lance, how has setting these expectations shaped your reputation and referral work over the years?
Well, I think it gets me a lot of referrals because I talk to other attorneys and I talk to accountants. They send people to me. They know from talking to me that I'm not going to, try to take somebody's money and not be able to help them out. So I think it's actually helped my referrals because I'm known in the business as a straight shooter. And I think that's how it should be. A lot of people, they'll go to a lawyer and they'll just tell them something that may not be true, or another professional. There's bad apples in any profession in this world. And I certainly don't want to be one of those. I want to give people good advice. I want to help people out. And I have no incentive to try to give people the wrong direction in how to solve their tax problems.
Lance Drury, sir, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Evan. It's always great to see you.
Good to see you too. And thank you so much for listening to Resilience and Resolve with Lance Drury. For more resources or to contact with Lance directly, visit lancedrurylaw.com. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, like, and show this to someone so you'll never miss an episode as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.